Hello everybody, welcome back to Hands-On with me, Christian Chiller. I almost forgot my own name there. The first for 2022. I am doing a whole bunch of things differently. So just to recap, if this is all very new to you, you have no idea what I'm talking about, I am Christian Chiller. You can find more about me on christianchiller.com. If you enjoy what you see, you can go to subscribe wherever you're watching, give me a thumbs up, say hello, say hi, join me in chat. I have a chat open in a few different places, and give me your feedback. But today, what is the subject today? I feel like I've looked at Swift and or Swift Playground in the past, but I can't remember quite when or where, so I think this is newish. Swift is a programming language I've kind of been following for some time since it came out. I've always had a strange sort of soft spot for it. I don't really know why exactly. And I was also super fascinated in when Swift became cross-platform and server-side, and I don't know how much that really changed things, but still I found it interesting. And then kind of more recently came Swift Playgrounds, and Swift Playgrounds was a kind of a tool for learning Swift. A lot of people who have exposure to Swift and Objective-C that still exists, but came before it, might have used Xcode. Xcode is a kind of very weighty, heavy, hard to learn, hard to use IDE. And Swift Playgrounds was aimed more at a beginner programmer. And the original few versions of it were somewhat limited in what you could do and iPad only, which is interesting, but offers some limitations. And with Swift Playgrounds 4, not only was there more functionality added, Swift Playgrounds also came to Mac. What I'm not sure about, which I would have to check, is if that was just M1 Macs or all Macs, or I'm not sure. So I thought it was a good opportunity to have another experiment. I'm going to use the Mac version for now, but I do actually have the iPad version ready to go as well, just to kind of see what we could do with it and how we can exchange code backwards and forwards. To get a little bit started, let's jump into a screen share, and you're going to see here I'm changing how I do screen shares a little bit, but also specifically for this one. This is the website for Swift Playground. So just saw it earlier. So we can see here downloading for iPad and for Mac. But here's the web page, and we get an idea of the sorts of things we can do. It's an app for iPad and Mac now. Make it fun to learn and experiment and get quite some way. I'd be interested to kind of know what that's going to mean when it comes to, to submitting applications. And you can actually do that from Swift Playgrounds, but I don't know if Apple is not renowned for liking to have the App Store inundated with bad apps. So I don't know if that's going to be an interesting challenge. That's a whole other conversation. And on it goes, really. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of tutorials here, but I'm not going to actually use these. I'm going to jump in a little bit further and try some other things at once. So yeah, anyway, we get the idea here. This is more of an introduction to Swift Playground, so we can see all sorts of different layouts here. Quite interesting. Gets people used to IDE-like tools, but kind of a limited way. It's interesting. I know it's been quite popular in schools and educational places too. So that is where I think they're aiming for. But what I'm actually going to do instead is I am going to use this blog post as my starting point instead. For a couple of different reasons. This is a blog post from Paul Hudson over on Hacking with Swift, who is always extremely ahead of the curve when it comes to producing tutorials for Swift and many Apple technologies. And as you can see, this is quite recent. This is from a few weeks ago, December the 19th, 2021. And you can find hackingwithswift.com, basically. And I'm going to combine learning Swift Playgrounds with a bit of SwiftUI too. SwiftUI is a sort of front-end framework that Apple have also produced for Swift. And I'm going to learn the two simultaneously because I want to, and because it seemed like a kind of better way to try things. So thanks to Paul and the Hacking with Swift team for that. And And I think it's time we got started. This is the Playground interface. It's pretty simple, really, pretty straightforward. Not much to it, as opposed to Xcode, which would be very different. I don't even have Xcode installed, so I'm not going to show you what it looks like. There's not much on the menus. You're not seeing them anyway, doesn't matter. And we have various template playgrounds down here. So let's have a look. Now, it's interesting here because the tutorial is mentioning iOS, and I'm going to try on Mac. This could be a disaster and not work out very well, but it's what I'm going to try. I do have the iPad down here as well, just in case, and I can show you that. So iPad is here ready just in case, but I would rather do on Mac if need be instead. And you can actually see the interface is extremely similar, which I think is somewhat intentional. There we go. So first up, using Swift Playgrounds for iPad, we'll be able to show pictures of your friends and family. So that on a Mac, yeah, may not work quite so well, but we'll see how we go. You need to install Playgrounds from the App Store and we're done. Right. First steps. The app button under Get a Playground. The app button. I don't see an app button, but I do see it on the iOS version. So maybe this is where this is not going to work. So I may have to switch to the iPad, which is totally fine. Let's do that then. Yeah, and we can actually see that down here. So let's see what happens. Maybe we can switch back at a later date. Let's see. Press the app button. That's more than I'm going to have to start typing. Actually, this keyboard can connect to an iPad. And I get a Playground to create a new project. Ah, I see. So the interesting aspect here I'd be interested to try. Let's just switch back to, oh, that's, you see? I've gone back to the Mac and already I have the application here. But I don't see that. I only see Playground as an option, but I wonder if I can edit this. Let's see. App project's going to be opened on macOS. That seems reasonable. Limiting, but reasonable. I wonder, no, these are all. So I get the feeling I'm going to have to continue on the iPad here. We have our app. Let's open it up. There we go. The strange cat face is a little oddly off-brand for Apple, but anyway. See the Playground split in two parts. One on the left, yep, and the preview on the right-hand side. Okay, so in this particular example, we want to get rid of most of this. I don't think I can change the font size. This is one of the negatives of... Oh, I can. Look at that. Brilliant. That's actually quite nice in itself. Look at that. There we go. We want to get rid of pretty much everything and just put the Hello World text. And also the... Actually, we don't need... Actually, this is all... It's actually slightly different. We need most of the text, but actually something else added. Oh, no, I see. Yep. So pretty much the... Yeah, thank you. The view... I think... Yes, that's it. We're not getting any errors. I'm going to hit save because it's just, I don't actually need to. I know that, but there we go. As you delete parts, you see the preview on the right hand change. I wasn't really looking, but I now see it is working. So that's good. Main encode does several things. It tells Swift to bring up the SwiftUI framework. Yes, we can see that at the top here. And creates a new piece of UI known as a view. I actually remember this from, I don't know, I did some Swift, even some Objective-C years ago. This all is vaguely familiar with that. And that's called a content view. We'll create lots of views in apps, but each one gets its own unique name, and then the body of the view, which in this case just returns some text. Okay. And customize the way text looks by adding modifiers. And this is sort of a familiar concept in many ways. So we can do things like font, and we're getting autocomplete. I mean, this is already pretty kind of incredible for an iPad application, some effects. I wish I could just switch to the Mac, but there we go. Maybe we'll try again in a minute. I mean, so far, I think all of this would work in a playground. We could just try and see how far we get. Let's come back to that in a second. Font, and there's a property here. I'm guessing these are inbuilt. Yes, so we can see some inbuilt, built-in, I'm not quite sure what they're called exactly, properties. I don't know. I'll call them that for now. Large title, and we can see the text changing. And it's actually it's pretty instantaneous. And a foreground color. There's blue in the tutorial, but let's go for red. And yeah, there we go. We have red text almost instantaneously. I've switched to night mode in the meantime, so it seems. Okay. All right, let's carry on. And we can also change text background. I'm looking in the wrong place now, of course. With other formatters and properties. This is a style of programming that makes a lot of sense to me. Let's go for, we got red. Let's go for white. It crashed. I forgot a dot. You can see that. Just the background of the text. Okay, makes sense. And the background is not specifically a color because it could also be images and other things. And we're getting, if you look, I don't think I can zoom in on this, but if you look at the text, there's kind of a tiny bit of a margin. Oh, and actually we can change the padding by the looks of it. Yeah, so that I assume will, oops, guess, having no real knowledge of how the properties are here, but yeah, we could change the padding. There is actually some, it's not really having much effect right now. We'll just leave it at the default for now. Okay. And there's a whole bunch more we can add, and they can actually stack. Here is an interesting example. So they could, see. It's hard to, I keep forgetting the dot. It's hard to really tell what is happening though. Red then white. But what effect it's happening, I'm not sure. I don't know if there's an ordering. Like if we put that at the top, does it make any difference? Ah, yes, so the toppermost. Interesting. I mean, it's not really an effect. It's just kind of unexpected consequences almost. So, anyway, okay. Good, very useful. Hello world in multiple colors. That is always what we need, of course. Now, let's actually start doing something useful. We have two sorts of view, a navigation view and a list view. I am not completely sure. I am going to assume it's here. The tutorial is not completely clear, and we'll see what happens. Navigation view. Things are happening. I don't know if it's what's supposed to happen, but they're happening. And then a list. Well, things have changed. See, a text appears on the right with a curved box around it. The text is on the left, but possibly because we have all the extra properties. Maybe they're having some sort of effect. Curve box around it to highlight this is a list. Maybe I think that's what we'd expect. Most things are left aligned in iOS, so I assume that's what we expect. Right, little space above it. That's space for the title of the navigation. We can see that on the top right. Which is empty right now. We can write our own title using another modifier attached to the list. So navigation title in just outside of the list. Kind of want to put a title at the top, but this is a property of it, I guess. So navigation title. And this is friend face, but I'm going to go for a Friendster. I might get legal issues, but there we go. Let's go for that. Fantastic. Try swiping around in. Yeah, so we can actually move that up and down. I can even get the little bounce. Kind of stretch as we scroll down. Yeah. And they get that for free with SwiftUI. Preview is real code running. Swift Playgrounds also has a play button that runs it in full screen. If we press that now, where is the play button? Over here. Let's see. So yeah. If we're running it on the iPad, we now get a different layout because the list is designed to let users choose from a list of data so that when they choose from that list, something happens on the right, like you see in Mail. And of course, nothing is going to happen right now. But we don't want that apparently. So let's switch back. I also note, if you look, I'm trying to point at my iPad screen like you can see, but the Swift icon up in the back, up in the top corner, like you get with when something's recording and things like that. So, I see. That's giving us like a little debug window. I guess we just want to stop. Yep. Cool. So we'll ask our navigation view to take up all the available space. And this is a particular style here, actually. I think I put it in the wrong place. Let's see. Yes, there we go. Right. Interesting because we're kind of getting our first, not really a debug, but, not entirely what we expect was not errors, problems, inconsistencies, things like that. Okay, great. Now we need dynamic data. Boring static lists are not particularly interesting. What I really want now is like some kind of formatter. I don't see any. I don't know if I can. No, that's one thing where we lack in using the iPad, I suppose. But okay, dynamic data. So inside the list, we have a single piece of text. We really want to show lots of pieces of data. One for each friend or family member we want to have in our app. We can do this by using another kind of element for each, but it needs data. It needs a list of items to show and convert them to a view each time, and then a way to identify each item in the list. That makes sense. So we need a list. And it wasn't immediately obvious what I just did in a video, but I copied the text from here and pasted it right into the iPad. I'm amazed, even if you're not. Okay. And I put it in the wrong place. It should be above. There we go. I am mighty impressed. Universal clipboard. Crazy, wild. Okay, this creates a new value called names. And it contains an array of text. Paul, Sophie, Charlotte. Charlotte. Arrays letters hold several values. Yep. Actually, this is reasonably common amongst various programming languages. I have the names array. It's very distracting because every now and then, you can see here, the screen updates in front of me. Why has that not gone into dark mode? I think because I'm on Ethernet. Names array, okay. And now in our list, we can, and again, I'm going to do this. Oh, I love this. It was amazing. I'm super impressed. I'm going to do this all the time now. So but I keep trying to move my mouse down onto the iPad. That's not quite there yet. So inside the list, instead of hello world, this is making me so excited. And we have the names. Fantastic. So we have a list of items, except now we're specifying using an array of data rather than hard coding all of them. Told the for each to create its items from the names array, and also that each item in that array can be identified uniquely by itself. That's the self variable there. Okay. Hand us one name from the array at a time and ask what we want to do with it. That's the name in the part. Okay. Yep. I think that's also familiar with many sorts of loop structures. And then we show it in a text view with the variable. Having data in a row is much nicer because now we can modify it. Voila. And now instantly, semi-instantly, there we go. Lots of different names. And now we're going to have pictures. Going to bring in some photos, but also we can use voice recordings, etc., etc. Photos. Okay. In the sidebar, which is over here, firstly, we're actually getting a nice structure there, which is kind of cool. You see an add new item button. I think that's the little, I wish I could, the document with the plus icon. Tap that, select photo. Oh, hello. Photo library. Photo of myself or a friend or family member. I don't know if I want to be doing that. It's a bit late now. Let's pretend this is me. It's obviously not me, but let's pretend it's me. And we have the image asset. The photo library. Yes. Given the default name of image asset, we could see that over on the left there. And rename it by long pressing on the text, I guess. Yes. Statue Jones. I guess we hit enter. Bring in another photo. Okay, fine. Let's go for, oh, here we go. That's my uncle. The Stay Puft. I don't know if there's any copyright issues here, but we'll go for this. Whatever. I don't know who owns the copyright. The puppy, why not? Okay, great. I have quite an eclectic family, so that's fine. Now we're going to take a picture live instead. This could get interesting. This is going to get a bit meta, also because the camera is either facing the table or facing the microphone. So it's going to be a picture of a huge microphone. But let's give it a go. But the tutorial I'm following, let's switch back and I'll show you. Here, okay, bring in one more picture, but this time take it live because it shows an interesting problem you like to face. I would consider it a bug in Swift Playground. Perhaps by the time you follow it, it's no longer an issue. Launch the camera app now, switch to the front-facing camera and take a photo of yourself. Head back to Swift Playground, pull that photo, and you'll see, when I do so, it's upside down. Yeah, sort of makes sense. I mean, I think I'm fine to just leave it like that for now, for the sake of demonstration purposes, but let's go for it. So I assume we click. See, that's not an interesting view. This is, oh, there we go. I did tell you. Oh, that was bright. Okay, and there's, oh God, that's a terrible picture. But anyway, it seems to have been fixed, I think. Oh no, there we go. There's the problem. Fair enough. Oh, sympathy, Mr. Ugly. Okay. But I'm just going to leave it as it is. Why not? But the important thing to point out here is that you have to delete it and re-import it. It doesn't update automatically. It doesn't seem to be a reference. It's actually imported, which is a slight pain. But there we go. And let's come back. There we go. Oh God, I hate this. 3 pictures of people. More than enough for us to continue. Going to add 1 more bonus picture of a dog. Okay, fine. But we need to update them to match the... Now, this is interesting because I put spaces. Let's see if this works. Actually, I can just occurred to me, I can actually move the iPad. There we go. So I'm going to see what happens here. I don't know if this is... Hopefully spaces doesn't matter. We'll see very soon. So we pretty much say Mr. I've got to get them right, I suppose. Mr. Puffy. I'm not, already not. Mr. Ugly. What did I do? Oh, man. Got there in the end. And Statue Jones. And I really cannot spell today. Okay. But something is not happening. So there's a problem. It could be the spaces. I get the feeling it might be the spaces. So we can rename them to Puffy, Ugly, dearie me. I've also noticed one other very strange thing with using this. I don't know if you've noticed it. It's been confusing me a lot. And that is that the time is completely wrong the whole time and hasn't changed, which is weird. I don't know if that's a feature or a bug, but it says it's been saying 9:41 the whole time, and it is not 9:41 where I am. So it's very confusing. Okay, we can change the names. Puffy, Ugly, Statue. So things are not quite working, but I'm not quite sure why they're not working. What have I missed? From name? No, it just took a while. There we go. And this is what the it's alluding to. I can switch back and show you. Just here that the pictures don't really fill the space correctly. So let's fix that up now. Okay. So, and again, it's the matter of using these kind of formatters. Name resizable. And, whoa, hello, that looks scaled to fit. Hey, check that out. Dun, 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 dun. Amazing. Okay. Curve box around the rows. It makes them look out, but the images, oh, I see. So yeah, you could see kind of here, they don't go edge to edge, and the box, it's kind of adding an extra layer of padding that we don't really want. We can change the list to a scroll view. So I'm just going to trim that down a little bit. This hopefully, yeah, there we go. So we change the list to scroll view. And we get a better layout. We do, yes. You can see now there's no box there. I mean, this is actually, obviously we're not doing anything massively dynamic here, but this is already actually done quite a bit with very little code. This is certainly, I guess this is SwiftUI. Well, it is SwiftUI. Yeah, I mean, we can probably prove this is SwiftUI by... Okay. I was expecting to see lots of errors, but... oh, there we go. There we go. Right. Okay. It took a second. And we can also change some things here. So this is on the images. We add corner radius here to 25. It's a float, I think. Yeah, I'm not so keen on that, but it's fine. And I can obviously change it. Padding to, I'm not sure what the difference means here. Let's see if we can get, yeah, maybe we can get some kind of description. No, we can't. So I'm not quite sure what horizontal means, but I mean, if we can try one of the other options and see what happens. I can see what happens, but I'm not 100% sure what it means. So we can get all bottom, horizontal infinity, leading. Oh, there's a lot of options. Vertical. I'm still completely sure what the effect is, but still. Horizontal. There we go. Nice. Playing some audio. Okay, this is not really going to work. Actually, no, I can. I do unfortunately think, because I've had this problem before, when you have, I have this plugged in at the moment as a video source, and I'd have to fiddle around with those. So we just have to. It's probably not. You're probably not going to hear it. You'll have to take it from me. Show faces belong to various friends and family. Play sounds when they get tapped. To handle pictures, how to make do something when tapped. Handled through another SwiftUI view called a button. And we need code to run when the button is tapped and a label for the button. Makes sense. Seems pretty reasonable so far. For us, the label is our image. So we can start off by wrapping the image inside of a button. Okay, we can do that. Oops, and I'm still trying to use the wrong keyboard. It's very, very confusing with two keyboards. Okay, and we change the image, which is all of this basically. Instead, oops, look at that. It does take its time sometimes. So we have a button, that's the label is the image, but nothing will happen, I'm assuming. Yeah, you can see that is now a button, but nothing happens. And that's a comment, makes sense. And let's just do this for now. We will just print a name. I don't know where this prints. I'm not sure if this prints to console or what. We'll see. Yeah, you can see it down the bottom there. It's a little bit off view. I can't really highlight it, but you can see there's a message popping up there. Okay. And again, this slash means the current value of the well, in this case, properties, I suppose, and in this case, the name one, which we did earlier as well. That was in the it's in the self. Yeah, so this must be a Swift thing. I don't remember this from my previous experiences with Swift, but it's quite cool. But we want to play sounds actually. Now we need files. 1, 2, okay. Puffy. There we go. I should probably rename it so we know. I've not used this application in a little while. Ugly. Fun times. You can tell this is not an Apple application. Statue was the other one, wasn't it? Statue. Okay. Let's switch back to the explanation. Okay. Each of these sound files matches the name of my photos with M4A on the end. That's the file extension used for audio files. There we go. So I imported all those audio files down the bottom there. Okay, so bunch of pictures and sounds. How do we actually make one sound play when its appropriate picture is tapped? SwiftUI doesn't have a built-in way of playing sounds. Interesting. UI means user interface is not audio. It's reasonable, yeah. It's okay. It's part of my plan because it gives me a chance to show real power feature of SwiftUI. You can bring in code anyone else has written straight from code sharing sites such as GitHub. In this case, I already wrote a free framework to make playing audio easier in SwiftUI. And we can bring it in here and start using it. To do that, go back to the Add New Item button and this time choose a package. Okay, we'll need the URL. Let's copy it. And let's do that then. So switch back to the iPad. And what did it? Add new item, and this time choose path down the bottom there. That is pretty awesome. Paste it in with my new favorite feature, fetching versions. And that's the latest version. Tap add to product. Cool. So firstly, we need to import the package, which makes sense. And I wonder if, no, there we go. Looks like. And replace the print action, surprisingly, with, ready for this, and hopefully I'll even be able to hear it. I don't know if I will, to be honest with you, but play. And yeah, it's all exactly the same. We can do the good old, whatever we want to call it. I'm sure it has a proper technical term, but .m4a. Okay, now I have no idea if this is going to work, if I'm going to be able to hear it. Yeah, things are happening and I'm not seeing any errors, but because I currently have the audio routed out to the Mac and something, I'm not going to be able to hear it, which is a bit of a pain. So I don't know if it's working. I'm not seeing any errors, so I assume it's working. But there you go. And I don't think my audio was particularly amazing anyway, so we won't worry too much, but it seems to be working. Making it work better full screen. I think we're getting towards the end here, but this has been pretty impressive so far. Yeah, I would be interested. I have an application that I've been working on and off for some time that I would love to see how much I could build. I've been using Flutter to make it kind of cross-platform, but how much I could use it in other things. But now the next thing we're going to look at is making it work better full screen. Because we've got that little preview on the right-hand side. If you press the play button, it runs full screen, and that's how people will see it. So fix this to make it more scalable. Rather than just showing one picture at a time, we can show a grid of pictures. Makes sense? So let's do that. Let's switch back to the iPad again. Okay. And I realize I was on the wrong view when I did that, but there we go. That's what I was just alluding to a minute ago. Fantastic. Okay. So below the let names line, we're going to add some columns. Okay. I remember this. I mean, this is also in CSS and all sorts of columns and grids are pretty common. Columns are common. Create an array of grid items, but put only one item in there, an adaptive grid item that has a minimum size of 250 points. Adaptive grid items, let us say we don't care how many columns we have, as long as they're at least 250 points wide. And SwiftUI does the magic. Okay. Then we need to wrap the for each code inside the scroll view inside a view type called lazy vgrid. It creates a grid of views and you tell it how you want your grid laid out and what should be inside. So we're just going to wrap the for each. And we need to find the bottom of the for each, I think. Yep. Understanding how. In the preview area, everything looks the same because the grid is automatically adapted to make best use of the space. But if we go full screen, it should look different. Let's see. Yeah. It's kind of odd, doesn't it? But that is appropriate, I think. Yeah. And now we are in the final stages. That's the code we're going to write. But before we're done, changing app settings, control its name, accent color, and icon. Okay. I mean, the cat is cute, but yes. So we go into the sidebar and click app settings. Oh yeah. So let's go for blue. Let's have a, yeah, that instead. Why not? I mean, custom. What? Yeah, why not? Let's. Can we use? Yeah, why not? Something Apple-y. It doesn't look great, but it's fine. And we give it a name. Oh no, it's called Friend, wasn't it? Let's summarize. It was actually quite impressive. I mean, the Mac version, it was disappointing to me, limiting. I couldn't really do very much. I had kind of set up to demonstrate switching between the two, and I realized very quickly that the iOS version is, in this particular case, is actually much better. I don't know how then we can take it further. If I can use the iPad as like a scratch way and then take it into Xcode and do a whole bunch of other things. But it's great for just experimenting, that's for sure, and making little applications that are useful for you. That kind of thing is also kind of cool, like how companies make company apps and things like that. So super interesting to play around with that, and I really enjoyed the simplicity of bringing in my media and bringing things from iCloud and all those sorts of things. That's kind of cool. Yeah, the Mac version, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what it's there for, but it's there and it's interesting, and I could do other things, I suppose, but I can't really do that sharing, and it's odd, like things like shortcuts, for example, the sharing is quite good. So yeah. But if you're interested, you can find more at apple.com/swift/playgrounds. If you've liked the video, you can find more from me at christianschiller.com. And wherever you've been watching, subscribe, say hi, thumbs up, leave a comment, always welcome.